The money was gone before any letter ever came. No phone call, no warning, just a Social Security check that landed lighter than the month before, and a careful man at his kitchen table running the math twice, sure he'd slipped up somewhere. He hadn't. He did everything right, the smart thing, the responsible thing, the thing everybody applauds. And everything right is exactly what they're charging him for now, every single month for the rest of his life. Over one rule nobody ever mailed him. His name's Lenny Russo, and for 40 years he fixed other people's broken systems, furnaces that quit in January, air handlers that died in August. He had a saying he'd give you whether you asked for it or not. There's no machine on God's green earth you can't tune, long as you read the manual all the way to the end. And on weekends, the better part of 30 years, he stood in the middle of a kid's soccer field with a whistle around his neck, because Lenny was a man who believed in the rules, knew them cold. So picture the week this all landed on him. His grandkids are sprawled across his living room floor, watching the World Cup, the big one, right here on home soil. Players wilting in that summer heat, everybody yelling at the screen about some new replay, call nobody in the room understood. And Lenny, the old ref, he just laughs and says, they rewrote the rulebook at halftime again. He had no idea how true that was about to get, because somewhere in the fine print of 2026, there was a rule Lenny had never been handed, and that one hidden rule took the smartest money move he ever made, the one his buddies high-fived him for, and turned it quietly into that very penalty. So let me ask you something right out of the gate. If you ever made the smart move, the Roth conversion, the thing the article swore was genius, the thing your buddy bragged about, I need you to stay with me, because this is the line that catches the careful ones. And maybe you're not even Lenny. Maybe you're his daughter, the one watching a careful parent who did everything right, wondering how everything right still ended up here.
I'll give you the truth, because there's no point in dressing it up. I used to brag about this. Sit with the crew at the shop, coffee going cold in the cup, and I'd tell them, boys, I engineered my retirement. Read every manual, ran every number twice. I figured if you set the system up right, it could never turn around and bite you. That's the part I keep chewing on at night. I'm the guy who reads the manual to the last page. I'm the guy with the whistle who knows every rule on the field. And the one that mattered? I never even saw it. And maybe right now, some of you are already thinking, easy for a guy who had a full account sitting there to give a chunk away. Hold that thought, because I sat with it too.
Here's where it actually starts. Not in some office with nice carpet. In the front seat of his work van, parked outside a job, the engine ticking as it cooled. Lenny kept a binder on that passenger seat the way some men keep a Bible on the nightstand. Metal clipboard, fat folder, little colored tabs running down the edge. Blue for the furnaces he serviced, green for the invoices, and one tab near the back he'd labeled in black marker years before. Retirement solved. He flipped to that tab a lot. It made him feel good, settled, like a job closed out clean and signed off. That afternoon his advisor had left him a message. Call me back, it's about your Medicare. And Lenny, still half in a good mood, dialed him right there from the van. Now, I want you to feel that moment, because a whole lot of you have lived it. That little drop in your stomach when somebody who knows more than you do suddenly starts talking in a careful voice. He pulled the binder onto his lap, clicked his pen. Because Lenny figured, whatever this is, we'll tune it. Read the manual, find the setting, reset it, move on. That right there, that easy confidence, that's the thing that's about to cost him. And here's the part I need you to lean in for. Because the first two things Lenny reached for, the two obvious fixes, the same two you would try, the same two half the internet would tell you to try, neither one of them worked. Not one. And the reason why is the whole story.
So the next morning, I'm down in a client's boiler room. Concrete floor, that old smell of burner oil, pipes sweating over my head. And I couldn't even wait till I got home. I've got Dale on speakerphone, my advisor, while I'm standing there. Set the binder right up on the workbench next to the boiler, flipped it open, pen out, ready to write down the fix. And I said, "Dale, just tell me which form I file. Every system's got to reset somewhere. Just tell me which one's mine."
Lenny, this isn't a form you file. It's those Roth conversions. Look, 40 years in the trade, a solid union pension, the retirement account you packed full all those years, and the Social Security you both draw that already had you and your wife sitting right at the edge of this line. That smart one you did a couple years back, Medicare looks 2 years in the rear view, and that's the year they're reading right now. It nudged you and your wife over a line neither of you could see, and the extra, it's already coming out of your checks.
I'll be honest with you. I stood there in that basement, and I felt 73 years old for the very first time. All that bragging at the shop, I engineered it. The guy who reads the manual, the guy with the whistle, and I never saw it. And the thing kept going through my head was, my wife's going to ask me tonight how it went. And I didn't have the first clue what I was going to tell her.
Now Lenny's standing in that boiler room, pipes sweating over his head, and for the first time in 40 years, the binder on the workbench isn't helping him one bit. So he did what you'd do. He reached for the reset. First thing, just undo it. Reverse the conversion, put the money back where it sat, pretend the whole thing never happened. Can't. That door got bolted shut years ago. Once a conversion like that is done, it is done, and there is no taking it back, no do-over, no rewind. The rule on that one changed a long while back, and let me tell you, nobody mails you that memo. And here's the part that ought to make you mad. Medicare will never call to warn you about this line either. You only ever trip it after you've already crossed it. All right, Lenny figures, second thing. There's always a form. There's a reset for everything if you read far enough down the page. So right there, over the speaker, with his pen hovering over a fresh line, he asked Dale about the one form everybody passes around like aspirin. And Dale, give the man credit, he'd already pulled it before Lenny ever asked.
Lenny, that form, I checked it first thing, before anything else, because it's the one everybody grabs for. But here's the catch. It only does a thing if your income actually went down. If you'd retired, lost a pension, sold something off, a real drop, then yeah, we file it and we fight it and we win. But your income didn't move an inch. You didn't lose a dime of what you bring in. And that, my friend, is the cruel little joke of the whole thing. You held perfectly steady. You did everything right. It wasn't you that crossed the line, Lenny. The line came over and crossed you. And there is no form on God's green earth for that.
And that's the one that took the wind clean out of me. 40 years I stood on a field with a whistle around my neck, and if a referee knows one single thing down in his bones, it's this: you do not move the line in the middle of the game. You just don't. That's the whole deal. That's the one promise the game makes you. And I'm standing there in that basement, and I finally get the joke I'd been laughing at with my grandkids on the living room floor not a week before. They changed the rule at halftime. Same player, same game, same effort I gave every single season for 40 years, and not one soul blew a whistle to tell me. I looked down at that tab I'd marked in my own hand. Retirement, solved, and I just went quiet.
He looked down at that binder a long time. 40 years of reading the manual all the way to the last page, and it turned out there'd been a page in there nobody ever handed him. And the cost of that one missing page, it's almost $100 a month now, every single month, for the crime of being careful. And here's what really got to me. He wasn't over by a fortune, he was barely over. The fella sitting $1 under that line pays nothing at all. Lenny pays the full freight. Same line, two completely different worlds, decided by pocket change. The full math's up on the screen. I'm not going to read it at you like a bill. So here's where I want to stop, because this is the part that matters. Both of the easy fixes were gone. The reset he'd counted on his whole working life, there just wasn't one. So let me ask you something, before I show you the one move Lenny had left. If you've ever told yourself you'll just fix it later, just file the form, Just undo it if it ever goes sideways. What happens the day you reach for that door and find out somebody locked it 2 years back? Would you even know which door still opens? So that's right where we left him, down in that boiler room with both doors locked. The reset he'd trusted his whole working life, gone. The form everybody files, a dead end. But Lenny wasn't done, and neither are we, because there was one move left, and it wasn't the kind anybody picks up the phone to tell you about. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Stay with me. A few days later, you'd have found him out at the yard, in the dispatch trailer, binder open on that beat-up steel desk, coffee rings and work orders all around it. And the thing he finally understood, sitting there, was that the move that saves you isn't a reversal at all. It's a redirect. So he got Dale back on the line and made him walk it through slow, one step at a time, the way Lenny himself walks a green tech through a furnace he's never laid hands on before.
Lenny, here's the piece almost nobody explains. At your age, the government makes you pull a chunk out of that retirement account every year, whether you want to or not. They call it a required withdrawal, and the second it lands, it counts as income. And that is part of what shoved you over the line in the first place. But there's a page most folks never turn to. You're allowed to take part of that very withdrawal and send it straight to a real charity, the kind that actually does some good in this world. The IRS calls this a qualified charitable distribution, or QCD, but it just means the money goes directly to them. And when you route it that way, those dollars never touch your income. Not at all. They skip right past the count, because as far as the rules are concerned, they were never yours to keep. Do that, and quit taking those big one-shot conversions. Spread them out in small bites instead, the way you'd stage a long. Install over a few visits, and the next year, your income settles right back down where it belongs, under the line, and the extra comes off.
And I'll be honest with you, the second he said it, something in my chest let go. All week I'd been walking around like a man who'd lost the manual to his own life, and here was a page I'd just never been handed. So I did the only thing I know how to do. I pulled a fresh tab, wrote one word on it, redirect, and clipped it right into the binder next to the old one that used to say, solved. And you know what? For the first time in that whole rotten week, my hands were steady. It wasn't a trick. It wasn't me weaseling out of anything. It was just the rest of the rule book. The part I'd never read all the way to the end of.
Now I want to be straight with you, the way Lenny would want me to be. This is not some magic key that fits every lock. Some folks don't have that kind of account, or that required withdrawal hanging over them at all. Some are honestly better off never touching it. If you've got a withdrawal staring you down this year, then this next part is for you, but you take it to your own counselor first, before you move a single dollar. Because a page from the rulebook is still just a page, until somebody who knows your whole life sits down and reads it with you. And then Dale told him the hard half, the part nobody picks up the phone to say.
Lenny, this won't undo the months they've already charged you. That ship has sailed, and I won't lie to you about it. What this fixes is the road ahead. Come the next determination, you land back under the line, and the extra finally comes off your checks. You don't beat the rule, my friend. You just, at long last, get to read it.
And I knew right where it was going. The shop class, down at the vocational school, where they hand a 15-year-old a wrench and a manual and teach him there's no machine on God's earth he can't tune if he reads it clear to the end. That's the lesson that fed my family for 40 years, and hardly anybody passes it down now. I told Dale, send it there. If the government's bound and determined to march this money out of my account, then it can march straight to the kids who'd rather fix a thing than be told it's broke. And here's the part I can't get over. The page nobody ever handed me. Turns out, I just bought a whole room of kids the chance to read theirs all the way to the end.
And here's where the binder finds its last home. Not on the passenger seat, not on a workbench, on the kitchen table on a Sunday, closed, set right down next to that scuffed-up toolbox his grandkids use when he lets them help him fix things. He flips the toolbox open, hands a kid a nut driver, and then he opens the binder to that back tab, the one that used to say, "Retirement, solved." He'd never crossed it out. He just added a page. And he tells those kids, in that flat, patient way he'd explain an offside call, the people who make the rules don't mail them to your house. You go find them. You read past the part you think is the end. Now I can already hear the argument starting, because it started in Lenny's own head. Is this plain good sense, or just a door that swings open easy for the man who had enough stacked up to give some away in the first place? I'm not going to settle that one for you. I'm not sure it settles. Now I want to say something to the grown ones watching too. If you're the son or the daughter standing in the kitchen watching a careful parent who did everything right, everything, and somehow still got caught, this is the page you want to find before they do. Don't wait for the lighter check. And here's the part Lenny made me promise to say plain. He doesn't get those months back. The ones the surcharge already ate. That money's gone and no redirect on Earth reaches backward. That's the honest cost. What he saved was the road ahead. He didn't win the whole game. He just got back behind the right line before the next whistle. And for a man who spent his life on rules, that was enough to sleep on.
I'll tell you what I told my grandkids at that table. For 40 years, I stood out there with a whistle, and I told the kids the same thing every season. The referee isn't the villain. He's just the one who read the rule book before you did. I spent my whole life believing that, and then I met a rule I'd never been handed, so I'm not bitter about it. I'm just steadier. My hand's steadier signing the next one than it was signing the last. Come here, kids. Pull up a chair. Let me show you the page they never hand you, so the whistle doesn't catch you the way it caught your grandpa.
This story shows how one redirected withdrawal helped Leonard Russo get out from under a Medicare surcharge he never saw coming and pull his premium back under the line for every year he's still got ahead of him. The man who could tune any machine on Earth finally found the one setting nobody ever showed him, and the binder that used to say solved stopped being a trophy and became the thing he hands across the kitchen table. So let me leave you with what Lenny would tell you himself, tired friend to tired friend. First truth, the system has rules it does not mail to your house, and the page you need is always one past the place you figured the manual ended. Read further than that. Second, the obvious reset, the undo, the form everybody passes around like aspirin will not fit most of the time. Check it, sure, but don't you dare bet the house on it the way Lenny almost did. Third, the move that actually saves you is usually a redirect, not a reversal. You don't fight the rule. You finally learn to stand behind the right line. Fourth, some penalties you simply cannot claw back, and a man keeps his dignity by fixing the years ahead instead of drowning in the ones behind. And fifth, when you find the page, you show it to the careful people coming up behind you, because they're the ones this catches. Now here's how you actually do it, step by step, the same way Lenny works a job. First, once a year, the same week you'd change your own smoke alarm batteries, you pull every letter Social Security and Medicare ever sent you, and you read the income line out loud. Second, before you ever make a big, applauded money move, you find out exactly where that income line sits for your situation, the same way you'd read the spec plate before you fire up a boiler you've never touched. Third, if you're already over that line, you ask a professional, in these exact words, can we send part of my required withdrawal straight to a cause this year? And you ask about spreading those conversions out in smaller yearly bites that stay under it, and you run the real numbers while you do it. The line, the surcharge, the redirect, right there on your screen. That's the difference between a guess and a plan. Fourth, you only lean on that life change form if your income genuinely dropped, and either way you take the whole thing to a state health insurance assistance program, or SHIP, counselor, or your own tax person before you move a single dollar, because what fit Lenny will not fit everyone, and that's not me hedging, that's me being straight with you. And fifth, you take one careful person you love, and you show them where the line is before the lighter check shows them first. This is the story of one ordinary person who figured out their situation. This is not personal advice and not a guarantee. Social Security rules are complex and depend on your age, earnings record, credits, health, family situation, and possible changes in law. What worked here will not work for everyone. Always consult a qualified Social Security professional or your local office before making any decisions. Don't risk your family's future relying solely on someone else's experience. If you're somewhere between 50 and 70 and this story hit close to home, drop "I'm in the comments. I read them and I try to answer as many as I can. He played by every rule for 40 years. So why did the system charge him extra for making the exact move it kept calling smart? And the way out he found, quietly steering part of his own savings to charity. Is that plain good sense, or a door that mostly opens for the folks who had enough to give away in the first place? Where do you land?